welcome to another episode of Think Set Go, your podcast for information that has got to do with a way to tap into your life and potentials to help you grow. Now, today's episode, we are going to bridge into Chema Chema, and the conversation I'm having today, I'm having it with our well-renowned financial advisor in Botswana, and I think a lot of you know him. His name is Seatla Ratshosa, and the conversation we're going to have primarily is on issues around money. I think just to profile him a little bit, Ratshosa also runs Masheleng, and I think he will tell us more about that as we go. Right, so Dume.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you somewhere else. Different setup altogether. So I think in starting our conversation, before we go far, just tell us about what you do in the sense of the assistance you provide to people and the background that you're working within.
Yeah, so I mostly define myself as a teacher, but mostly on financial empowerment. I spend a lot of time working for financial institutions to know that there are so many things that we are not doing right as Botswana or as Africans, because I've observed different nationals, how they treat money, how they behave around money. So I decided to set up a business called Ignite Wealth. So Ignite Wealth, our core business is training. We train corporates, we train groups of people, we also do individuals. We also have a counseling center where we help people with financial advice directly as individuals. And then we also have a media business where we basically do content on finance. You might know Masheleng. Masheleng is our platform where we teach on finance. So on different social media platforms, we create entertaining videos, but mostly educational. So that's really our core. That's what we do.
All right. So now looking at Botswana though, because you obviously are looking at this already, you're comparing it with how other people handle money.
Yeah.
Rona, where do we go wrong? I mean, we are all alive at the same time. We breathe the same air. How are others doing it different from us, and why?
Yeah. So when you look at our behavior around money, it really starts from childhood, right? Conversations around money. Have you had conversations with your parents around money, with your siblings around money? Have you had people talking about budgeting or investing, buying stocks? You've never had that until maybe you were at varsity or maybe you started working, right? So it becomes a very, very complex conversation to have. But when you look at other nationals, I remember during my days at the bank, you'd have an Indian man or a white man come into the bank. They never come alone. Most of the time, they come with their spouses, they come with their kids. Yeah. And then they're talking about a loan that they want to get. Maybe they want to buy a car or they want to buy a house. And we can hear kids also commenting and saying, but mom, is the house going to have this, right? The dad is negotiating interest. So the kids are absorbing all of this, right? So it becomes a part of them, right? But with us, it's different.
Yeah.
A man shows up today to come and inquire on what they qualify for. Next week, the wife comes alone, also inquiring on for herself, right? Not necessarily for the entire union. So I've seen that as a big problem, because you see a lot of families now continuing to have separate lives when it comes to finances. The husband is running his own thing, the wife is running his own thing, until one of them gets into real trouble. That's when they will sit down and say, honey, can you help me? Can you get a loan from me? Can you help me here, right? But otherwise, we don't have conversations like that. So we are really just trying to change that, to say, look, from a family perspective, can we start having financial conversations over dinner? Can we start, having conversations around finances before we get married? Can we get comfortable talking about our debts? Can we get comfortable talking about our investments with our partners, with our children? Because if we don't, there's no wealth that is being built there.
All right. I think money is a very embarrassing thing, right? Money is like being naked in public in our culture. Because you look at it this way. When you have it, you are able to show off. Yeah. But even when you show off, you are also careful that batlaholowa kind of thing comes into place. When you don't have it, you're embarrassed from how people look at you. Yeah. So I think that is why maybe we kept money as a secret, really, Botswana, from Boholo to a point where, my dear, I be on private parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but how do we change that culture? Yeah. What will it take I'm not giving them money to show off or afford a pie, but rather it's madi is your responsibility.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, I like the question that you're asking because I have a book called Marshalling. We just released
Okay.
the second edition of that book. So in that book, I've written a story of my life, how I grew up, what I've been taught, and why I struggled with money later on in my life, even after doing finance at school,
Yeah.
even after working for financial institutions as an advisor, I was still struggling with money. Why? Because I was always given money from you know when we are children, every day you go to school, you are
Yeah.
given $5, you are given $10, and you are never told how to use that money. All you know is that the following day you are going to be given another five.
Yeah.
So if it happens that you were too busy at school and you couldn't go for your break, you didn't spend the $5. Before you get home, you just want to find a way to finish that $5.
Regardless of whether you're going to need it tomorrow or not.
Yes, just have to finish it, and you keep on doing that as a child because your parents have made you used to getting money every morning. So every morning you know that there will be a refill. So you keep on getting. By the time you get to maybe junior school, now the terms have changed. Now you don't want five puller. Now you want to buy a pair of sneakers
Yeah.
that costs $1,000. You ask for money. Now you are learning a different language. They tell you, no, money doesn't grow on trees. We don't have money. We don't have enough. You start to get upset, right? And then you are told that no, if you can push to varsity, now you are going to earn your own money. So now your only target is to get to varsity so that you start getting your allowance, right? By the time you get to varsity, you are getting an allowance, but you are you still have a void from childhood where you were not given the $1,000 that you wanted.
So that timberland must be bought.
It must be bought. That's why you find a lot of students who get allowances that are very reckless with the money, right? But you would find in the same school there are other students who will get the allowance. They will save up the allowance. They will maybe set up a business. They will maybe have enough for the entire month, right? Those students were taught differently growing up. They were probably raised by parents who always spoke of budgets, who always maybe gave them the responsibility of handling the family money, or maybe who were taught how to sell, how to do certain things, right, in a household. So by the time you start working, you are doing the same thing. You earn, you finish your money, but now the month is too long. You are not getting money every day, right? The month is too long. That's why most of our money lasts 3 to 5 days, and then for the next 3 weeks you are broke until month end, right? So that's really what we were talking about, to say, look, this thing starts from childhood. It's a very difficult conversation, and the thing that makes it even worse is that there's a religion that is linked to how we behave around money.
Yeah.
So if you listen to a lot of pastors when they preach, a lot of Christian pastors, they talk about money like it's the devil.
Yeah.
You shouldn't really be comfortable talking about money. It's something that makes people do wild things, right? So when you grow up in an environment like that, where when you go to church, pastors are vilifying money, your parents is not talking about money, you are also going to have a problem with money. Now, because they did not tell you that actually everything that you need in life and everything that you are going to do will require money, right? So there's no way that you can say this thing is an evil thing. So we are also taking a theological approach to teaching people about money and getting people to understand that the Bible never said that money is evil.
Yeah.
The Bible never said that people should not become rich. In fact, the Bible presses that if you are a child of God, you are living in God's kingdom. In the kingdom of God, there are all types of riches.
Yeah.
And therefore, you should be going out there to get those riches. But there is a way that you need to get it, right? So we are just trying those different approaches so that, because you find a lot of Christians are broke, a lot of Christians are living in debt, a lot of Christians are poor, so which means basically we misinterpret what the word actually said.
Yeah. So now, this obviously says a lot around who we are.
Yeah.
Some of us were raised different. Some of us were raised by our mothers who ran sport, kana smausu, kana a small eatery, more masapi kind of thing. Those kids, though, right, when they grow up, they seem to understand the struggle of raising money more than the ones that their parents had the job. You know, I picked up something before. One of the Arab statements says that, you know, an old man will work very hard to change from a poor life to change his life for his kids. But as they go on, it gets better and softer to the point that they can't do anything for themselves.
Yeah.
So how do we take that masape, masporto, kana masmausu culture and infiltrate it into people? Because essentially, jobs are gone. People have to raise their own money.
Yeah.
But how do we get young people to understand that? Because Ronam, it might be too late for us. We are trying now to change that culture for our children.
Yeah.
But how can I teach my child about money when nane ke tsore madi ke sepiri ha bua gare ga batho?
Yeah. Yeah, so I like to follow the Jews way of doing things, right? My studies, as I continue to read about them, they have a structure of how things should be done. From the time a child is born, the child spends a lot of time with the mother, so that they are nurtured, they're given the love and everything. I think until 8 years or so. And then from there, the child has to now spend time with the father, who's going to teach the child ways of the world, how to make money, how to be in business, right? Because Jews are very deliberate about the type of professions that a Jewish person or a Jewish child needs to get into.
Yeah.
All of their professions are money-making professions, right? It's either you are a doctor, you are an engineer,
A banker,
a banker,
jeweler,
anything that can make you a professional, or you are in business, just as a business person.
Yeah.
So they're very deliberate about that. From the time kids are young, a path will be chosen for them. If it's a boy, a path will be chosen. If it's a girl, a path will be chosen to say, look, this one is going to become a doctor. And then they start inducting those kids in the education of becoming a doctor, or inducting them in education of starting a business. It starts from childhood. But the parents have to be deliberate about it. If you look at the way that we raise children, and I was having a conversation with someone yesterday at the gym, we're talking about our educational structure, our curricula, to say, does it really work? You'll be doing like 9 subjects at school. And then you get to varsity, you are doing like 6, 7 courses at a time, right? And then now that you are working, what do you remember? You literally remember nothing, because we don't prioritize becoming experts in anything. We like to be generalists, and generalists never make a lot of money. Generalists normally remain poor, right? But if you look at countries that are deliberate, your China's, when they said we are now going to start focusing our kids on maths and science, they did exactly that for years, until they became the best in engineering, the best in creating innovative stuff and stuff. So I think with us, we also need to be deliberate about that. From the time a child is young, a child needs to be taught. We need to move away from this culture of saying, if you are selling, or if your child is saying, it means that you are poor. You know, there's that stigmatization to say, nah, if they're selling, they probably lack. If they were not lacking, they wouldn't be selling. But everyone who's rich, everyone who's wealthy, they are selling. We just need to get into the culture of understanding that the selling teaches you both financial discipline, the art of creating, and also how to become wealthy.
Yeah. And when you talk about children who sell, I remember growing up that I would buy my quality biscuits. So I'd get my 5 pula or 2 pula per day to go to school. And I'll probably have motorwa skolo, and then from there, after 4 days, and I think my class also had a bit of a Jewish mentality. We'll all walk all the way to a place called Evergreen. It's now Trans. We'd go and buy quality biscuits, hide them in our bags and sell. If we are caught, the teachers were going to whoop us. And we were getting beaten by teachers for selling. And you wonder, if this education is anti-selling, why should I sell?
Exactly. So some of the kids' chances are their morale died when they were beaten, because if you are beaten, you are kind of being shown that what you are doing
It's bad.
It's bad. It's a bad thing. It shouldn't be done. But if maybe the teachers were to say, look, you are not permitted to sell within the school premises. However, you can sell after school or you can sell during break, then they would be encouraging.
Yeah.
But if they just whip you and say, no, you shouldn't sell, and sometimes they
confiscate
your stock, then they move you to stock, then it doesn't really sit well. So I think for me, I'm trying to teach my kids how to sell. During COVID, we had a lot of lemons. Yeah. And lemons were very expensive at the time.
Yeah.
And people will be passing by and asking for lemons. Can we have one? Sometimes some of them will be falling outside the yard. People were just lining up at the gate, and my kids decided to put a sign at the gate there and said, we are selling lemons, 3 pula per lemon. So when my wife came, she found the poster at the gate, so she was quite furious. And then when she came to me, I was like, no, but it's okay. Leave the kids. To her, I think she was thinking, look, we have a sign that we are selling here. What are people going to be thinking? Yeah. So I was like, no, it's not for us. It's for the kids. It's good for the kids, for people to line up and buy. They learn that today we're selling for 3 pula. If there are more people than the lemons that we have, we increase the price.
We go to 5 pula.
The demand has gone up, right? Yeah. So they learn economics by themselves. They don't need to go to school to learn economics, because if you look at the Zulu tribe, selling is a part of their culture. Everyone is taught how to sell.
And they sell even the things that you do. Selling TP. Yeah, you're not thinking someone's gonna sell TP or playing yogurt around the street.
Yeah, exactly. They literally introduced forex.
Yeah.
They started selling forex before it was fashionable to get forex from a bank or anything like that. They were doing that, right? Because they understand trade. Because when you understand trade, what normally happens to you is you are literally always looking for problems, right? Where you see a problem, you come up with a solution. You know that a solution will make money, right? That becomes your mindset. Now, if someone like that gets educated, they get higher education, but continually doing the service provision, providing solutions to problems, right? That person has a high likelihood of creating real wealth. Maybe the Zulu community, because most of them prefer not to do higher education, right? Maybe they might not create the wealth of your Mark Zuckerbergs and others.
But they have it contained.
But yes,
if when you really see them living their life at home, you will be shocked. Yeah. Obviously they have a uniform. Yes. A cultural uniform. They wear the same clothes. Yes. So there's no way you are going to judge the person for they're not wearing Nike or Adidas. Yeah. But it's not like they can't afford that. Yeah. When you go if someone owns more than 20 taxis going to Joburg from Gaborone, that's a very rich person.
It's a very rich person.
And they are doing that. Yeah. So, but we need to then try and teach our people. But we look at Mazezuru, that hey, Mazezuru, and we remember when Zimbabwe was still Zimbabwe.
Yes.
They would come Kamatsela, they would come Kamanoko, and they were selling. Yeah. We were busy laughing at them for selling, then capitalizing on why are they selling it on our streets and not bringing it in back. But I think it's a difficult education to then give more start selling, and they start thinking you're undermining them. Yeah. There's a new culture now of Botswana trying to sell chickens. They grow chickens and sell them at work. Their co-workers judge them. Madikuku. That happens. Yes. But I think that's why we need to hit the mindset and change it. But can we actually achieve it in Botswana?
No, it can be achieved. I mean, right now, I'll just give you some of the testimonies that I have from the trainings that I have done in people that I mentor. Just yesterday, I was with one young man. This guy is a gardener, and he earns like 3 point something. He's doing full-time gardening. It's not a lot of money. It's minimum wage. But he managed to raise a bit of money and bought a combi to transport students to school and back. He makes an extra 14,000, right, from the combi. Now he's scaling into other things. So normally he would come to me and say, I'm planning on doing this. Is this the right thing to do? So we are always having a conversation around, let's increase the selling. let's not park money in assets that are not going to generate money. Let's continue with cash flowing type of assets, right? And sometimes I get calls from people saying, look, the last time we spoke, I was only dependent on my salary, but now I started to sell clothes. Now I've started to sell this. People now are getting the feel of it. They are now realizing that selling actually unlocks the cash flow that you actually need.
Yeah.
Because the salary comes at the end of the month. It can maybe take care of your long-term obligations and stuff like that. But the money that you need to move for fuel, to travel, to do this and that, will be coming from selling. So I think it's something that we will be able to achieve. And there's something that of recent I've been speaking about regarding how our people have been trying to improve their lives, which we have not recognized as a nation, for the longest time, and that is network marketing.
Yeah.
Right. Network marketing is one of the businesses that have been adopted by Africans, and a lot of Africans are doing it. It's just funny how we never talk about it in big platforms, right?
Yeah, because it sounds like a Ponzi scheme.
It sounds like a Ponzi scheme. But when you go into broadest industrial, you go into those warehouses, you find that there are so many families who are living off network marketing, right? And when you look at network marketing, that is just it's just a sales strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are selling products. It could be Tupperware, it could be supplements, it could be juices, it could be colognes, it could be whatever the company is selling, right? The people who become successful in network marketing are people who have embraced selling as part of a culture, right? Because the network marketing company is just saying, look, I'm selling cell phones, but I don't want to open warehouses across Africa or across the world. So I want you to be a distributor.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a platform that exists. We've already created product. We've created a marketing plan for the product. Mm-hmm. We've created training programs for the product. All you have to do, you're like a franchise. All you have to do is to adopt it, find people to sell to, bring them into the business so that they can also learn how to sell. Mm-hmm. So I think if we can start promoting a lot of network marketing, we'll eventually get Botswana to a point where they realize that selling is key. And there's so many people who are now building houses. They've never stepped a foot into an office. They've never been employed before, but they're building houses, they're buying cars, they're going on holidays that even people who are employed have never gone on.
Can't afford to go.
Can't afford to go over. So I think personally, people are embracing selling, and eventually we'll get to a point where everyone literally sells something.
But that's a one gender economy, right?
Yeah.
When you go to Tupperware, I went to Tupperware before queuing for someone.
Yeah.
And I was the only man there. There's Herbalife just across the road.
Yeah.
The queues there, it's all women.
Yeah.
Amway, it's all women. Genovese, if you remember back in the day, Home Choice back in the day, all women, right? And we as men are the ones who are always left behind in this because we believe that we are shy. People tell me, no, you know how to talk to people, you're a people person. Yeah. You can sell, what is it at the time? I think it was Forever or something. Yeah. I said to them, I do what? I'm unable to come to you and sell you something. Yeah. But it goes to show that men don't believe in that. Yeah. Yeah. Can we change men to go into network marketing?
Yeah, I think slowly they're coming on board. Okay. And I agree with you. Back then it was a woman affair, and one of the reasons why it was a woman affair is because men have a bit of an advantage over women when it comes to employment.
Yeah, they were going
because
to the mines.
Men can go to the mines, they can go to the streets, the whole day. Women prefer not to do that. Not that they can't, but they prefer not to do that. So they would move to the network marketing type. But I have done a couple of presentations to network companies of recent. Yeah. And I have seen a lot of men now. I see a lot of people coming as couples. Doing it together.
It's easier as a couple than as a man on your own.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? Yeah. In some of the network companies that I have seen, men are doing way better than women.
Okay.
They're doing way better than women because most men they would give it time to come up with a strategy of their own. You know how men are literally always like thinking of how can I bypass the system, so they come up with systems of getting people, recruiting people, traveling and doing this and that. So I've seen a lot of men doing better, but still the highest percentage of people in networking remain women to date. Not just in Botswana, South Africa, Nigeria, everywhere. Even when you see those who have achieved a lot. I know that Herbalife here in Botswana, the top distributor is a woman. Also.
Same with Tupperware.
Same with Tupperware, But the guy who runs Tupperware is actually run by a man. In Botswana, the guy who manages the distribution locally. So I think it's coming there, because back then maybe it was easy to get employment as a man, but nowadays I think it's becoming even more difficult. So I think that they're also saying, hey, we need to see what to do. But when you look at something, it's not really research based, but I'm just going to say it. I think if you look at a lot of families which are headed by men who are working, gainfully employed, the financial support is coming from the women who are in network marketing. Right? So the man goes to work, they have a dignified role, they wear a suit every day, they're driving a car.
Qualify for a loan.
They qualify for a loan. They go to a government office or a private sector office. And then the woman stays at home, calls other women, they have a short meeting, they're pushing product and stuff. You find that the man's salary is highly geared. They don't have cash flow coming from that pay. Maybe it pays for the house and something like that. But when it comes to food, when it comes to travel, taking care of the children, maybe paying school fees, you find that the money is coming from mostly women. Right? Now, we never ask the question of where is this money coming from, because we know that these women are not running their own businesses. Where is the money coming from? You find that mostly they're involved in some form of a network business. So I think that is something that is slowly being adopted. And I think in the years to come, it might be something that really opens wealth up for most Africans.
So then when we look at that, is that we need to balance this, right? Half the time we talk about or jobs or money making. For mostly women are the biggest players in that space. Men are very rare in that space. They, like you said, they're going to get jobs easy. But we now need to balance this, because we are talking of gender equality and balancing roles and all that. To be able to build that and make it realistic, how can we balance it? Because women are powerful in terms of Mitsel. Look at Mitsel. Mitsel is actually, you know what I mean? You look at even SACCOs now. SACCOs is actually driven more by women. You look at the most successful cooperatives. Those cooperatives are driven by women more than they're driven by men. Right? How do we then teach the men to come and play a role? To say, look, when your wife goes for motel and when you are going out to whatever bar or whatever, talk about this. I know that guys are now trying to do these things, but they when men do it, they do it way bigger than women. How can we get them now from young to say, you can have friends, but as your friends, try to gather money, try to do crowdfunding amongst yourself, try to talk about money.
I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. Personally, I always say we need to, and this might come across a bit controversial, but I feel women are naturally empowered and they don't need a lot of empowerment programs.
That's why there's a word masport, but no
respect. So I see as a country, because we are adopting all of these models that are coming from the international world, saying women have been oppressed for years and years and years and stuff like that. Generally, I maybe I grew up in a different generation. I feel like a lot of women are actually empowered, and now we are leaving the men behind. But the man is the person who needs to be empowered, because an empowered man cannot raise a hand to a woman. That is an empowered man, right? An empowered man understands that they need to empower the women, right? An empowered man knows that they they are the protector. They are supposed to be coming up with a vision. So now we are empowering women more. But this is the reason why I'm saying women are naturally empowered, right? If you take a girl child is being raised in the family, let's say maybe they're at primary school, 5 years, 6 years. You know, if a newborn child is left with that girl child, you know that girl child naturally knows how to take care of that kid.
Yeah, they know exactly what to do. That motherly instinct kicks in. They've got that superpower in them to be able to do it with or without being taught how to do it.
With or without being taught. Yeah. And they will know that this kid has to eat. Therefore, I have to do something. I have to go out there. I have to find something to do so that the kid can start eating. This has been there for a very long time. A very long time. Women have been taking care of families, dropping out of school to take care of families. But now the problem that we are having now is to say men are trouble. They are troubling women. They are abusing women. Let's empower the women, right? But what we should be doing is empower the one who is abusive, empower the one who doesn't understand their role, because I believe that women understand their role. So I think we kind of got it twisted. So even if we are speaking about networking and saying, but men are not involved, how do we get men in, right? Then we need to have proper programs where we actually teach men, where we actually train men to understand that this is what you need to do, right? Your family is dependent on you to do one, to do two, to do three, right? If we don't do that and we continue empowering women, men eventually get frustrated, they are left behind, and when they get frustrated, they will reverse everything that we've been trying to do. Yeah, because they will meet up with these women, they will abuse our children, they will abuse our sisters, our mothers, and so on and so forth. So I think we need to be deliberate. Also, us having a platform to speak about these issues, I think we need to be deliberate about calling on men and saying, here are the opportunities. Network marketing is not a woman thing. This is something that can actually be done by both genders. Even as men, you can do it as a whole. I mean, when you look at a product like, say, Herbalife, we are not really advertising them here, but it's a nutritional type of business, right? They're selling such products, right? Who trains a lot?
Men.
Who plays football? Who runs? Who does all of this? So why is it that women are prospering more on that field, not men, right? It's only that men don't understand how these things can actually benefit them, right? They just keep on consuming. A lot of sportswear. Men are not involved in selling sportswear, but they're the ones who are doing sports. Right? It's just a thing of a bit of mindset change to say, look, guys, money is money. Money doesn't care how you made it, right? As long as it's legal, as long as it's something that doesn't hurt people, right? You need to be getting into that industry and making money, right? So I think there is a lot of education that needs to be done. And I think we need to be deliberate about actually providing that education.
So then, which then comes into how men jump into programs, right? Men don't easily buy into programs. I don't know if it's because they want more convincing or it's because they feel, I'm looking at, and I'm saying this looking at Chema Chema. When I look at Facebook, right, majority of the people more inquisitive, not talking about, more inquisitive about Chema Chema is women. The men are talking about it, they're sharing the post and they're talking about it politically speaking. But the most inquisitive people about Chema Chema is women. There was a Chema Chema event that happened in Extension 27, Sulphur Park. Majority, 99% of the people there were women. Out of the inquisitive nature that they have to say, can this change my life? And now Chema Chema is here. Do you think men are going to go for this thing? You are right. I don't expect to see a lot of men there because I've had conversation with men around Chema Chema, and most of them are looking at it from a political point of view. I mean, I believe, I don't have the numbers, but I think men buy newspapers more than women. And I think men read more on the political side of the newspaper than on the business side of the newspaper. So I think that creates a problem among men to say,
you know, if you are always looking at things from a political point of view, you might miss out on a lot of opportunities. I mean, the same thing, SEDA is running this program, and we know that there are so many men who can't apply to SEDA, even outside of Chema Chema, any other product of SEDA, they can't apply because they believe that when you get there, you need to know someone. You need to be involved with some politician. You need to know the local councillor to speak for you. You know, and we are in business. We know that that thing is totally off. We are not saying there's no corruption. We're just saying if you put up an application, you'll meet a person called a relationship manager. You'll have a chat with them. They'll argue the financials. They'll argue the business plan. You will correct. You will keep on doing what needs to be done until they give you an approval. And you are just somebody who's not known. They don't know you. They don't know what you do. They don't know your family. But they will give you that loan. And a lot of people have gotten those millions, right? But with women, it's different. Women are not too much into the political side of things. They are always worried about what their kids are going to eat. They're worried about the progress of their family. That's really what they're worried about. So every time when a program like this comes out, it's for them. They take it. They take it head on. I'm telling you, there will be opening doors when maybe next week. Next week there will be opening doors. Just go to SEDA.
Yeah, the queue is
just go to SEDA. The queue is going to be huge, and over 90% of the people on the queue will be women, right? But this does not mean that there are not men in the informal sector. There are so many men in the informal sector.
Actually, a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more. But they won't be queuing, right? They'll just be there talking politics and saying, no, everyone who's going to be given, they are already listed.
I'm not in that list.
I'm not in that list, as if they saw some list. So it poses a bit of a challenge. Maybe we can try from a regulatory point of view, or to say, can we have some form of a quota? Similar to how we always have quotas when we do women linked programs, right? I think we can do some type of a quota to say from Chema Chema, half of Chema Chema, it needs to be men-led, half of Chema Chema needs to be women-led, so that maybe we can gauge whether men are coming to participate or they're not coming, so that if the other half of men, it's not taken up, then we can raise a conversation to say, why didn't men come through? And then we start advertising to say the men fund has not been utilized, but the women fund has been exhausted.
Cleared,
you know, so I think we need to do that, because the politics is going to kill us. Not to say we shouldn't be talking politics. We talk politics. I talk politics, but I don't allow politics to disturb me when it comes to business opportunities. So when something good comes along, and I have an opportunity to actually access some capital to grow my business, I'm going in, right? I can talk politics on the side, but it shouldn't stop me. When a good product comes, you go for it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this Chema Chema, and it's been obviously given to SEDA to disburse it. SEDA was also given Lekhabile. Yeah. I wish I could find the numbers, and I'm going to make it a point to find out the numbers. The Lekhabile program, more women managed to organize themselves in groups to apply for it than men. And the same thing came again with the COVID recovery. There were more women applying for this than men. But the biggest hustlers, when you look at, let's go into our bus rank. The guys doing the most of the hustling, carrying the buckets of water and ice and whatever, is the women. I mean, it's the men. Yeah. But the men didn't go for this fund. How do men judge these opportunities of money? Are we saying, hey, but women are willing to go for that risk?
Yeah, I think it's really what we've been discussing. Men are more political than women. You know, they don't take advantage of opportunities as they come through. You know, it has been said that women don't support each other. But trust me when I say, if it's something that is going to feed their families, women come together and they form groups and they will get that funding, right? And we have seen those programs. If you come as a group of 5, you can access up to 250,000. I know a lot of
the gender empowerment fund. I remember some years ago.
I know a lot of women who set up manufacturing plants to do chemicals and stuff
peanut
like that.
Butter,
chemicals, peanut butters. We know a lot of those companies, and they're growing. We see some of them now are also exporting, right?
Yeah.
But we don't take care. But there's something that maybe we might be omitting when it comes to the male gender. The male gender always feels that business should be a big thing.
Yeah.
So
it's a big go big or go home.
It's a go big or go home. So when you are talking $10,000, $50,000, like nah, I can't.
It can't do anything for me.
It can't do anything for me. This is for airtime. Even someone who doesn't even have $1,000, right? They still feel they need to be going for the 50 million. I spent a lot of time trying to calm down the emotions of most men when I was at the bank, right?
Yeah.
I would receive applications on a daily basis. I would receive more than 15 applications, different ideas, brilliant ideas from Botswana. They will come and say, look, I've designed this plan. This is what we are going to do. We're going to recycle this product and get this. And I was getting literally educated every day. I was like, you can do that with that?
Yeah.
Every day I was always wowed. So they would come with all of this different plans. These are men. Men normally go to the banks, right? They're the ones who go to the banks, more especially on the business side, asking for funding. So they will come up with these plans. And you will find that they need how much? They need 50 million. And then I sit down, I look at the plan. I'm like, look, this is a brilliant plan. And I think you have done your numbers right. Everything looks well. But here's where the problem is. Your model is not proven. Mm-hmm. And I work for an institution that is owned by people. And they're taking care, they're custodians of other people's money. They're not just going to give you 50 million because you have a brilliant idea. No, they're not. That is a huge risk. But if they're going to participate in the risk, you need to show that you have got skin in the game. Yeah. What have you done? How much have you put in, right? So when the bank says we want security, they don't literally mean that you need to come carrying houses and stuff. What they're saying is that, look, we are not secure because you have not risked anything in the transaction. Yeah. And because you have not risked anything, if we give you everything and then tomorrow things don't go well, you might not fight. Yeah. Because you've got nothing in it.
You've got nothing to lose.
Hey, you are going to feel, it's not my money, it's the bank's money. So then the bank will try to recover whatever they can recover, sell some machines there and there. But if your family house isn't there, you know that you also need to explain to your spouse, you need to explain to your children why things are going, right? If part of your savings are in there, right? If you have put in 5 years of your time in that project, working on it, establishing relationships, right? You have invested. That is your investment, right? So now when you come and say, I need 50 million to bump up this business, now investors are going to listen and say, oh, okay, but I think this guy has a track record, or this guy has put this in, therefore we can support. So they always get frustrated. Most of the guys who are not doing anything, they're just sitting at home, they're not working, they don't have businesses, they have a business plan. Yeah. And the business plan needs millions, right? But when you tell them, look, start with Chema Chema, get the 50,000. Yeah. The requirements are not hectic, right? You want to start, you want to have a laundry shop. You don't need to go and buy the machines. Get the 50,000, get a small machine at your house and do laundry for people. Just weigh the clothes and then see how much you can make on a daily basis. And then because now you've bought 3 washing machines at home and maybe a dryer and some chemicals, now you can wash at home. You can deliver those things to people. Maybe you can start making 25,000 a month, 30,000 a month. That 30,000 a month is what you're going to be using when you go to the bank to say, can I borrow $1 million? I'll be able to pay 15,000 a month. Where is it coming from? It's coming from my existing business. It's not coming from what I'm projecting, because projections are very tricky. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a prophet. You don't know. So if I go to a bank and say I'm projecting we're going to be making 100,000 a month, this thing is guaranteed. They like to say that this thing is guaranteed. 100,000 a month, right? There's nothing that is guaranteed in business. Yeah. Even if you have a signed contract, it's still not guaranteed. You can sign a contract today, 2 months later, the company that has signed a contract for you, it could be DBS, it could be government, they come and say, look, something has come up. Yeah. We can't.
Our priorities shifted.
Our priorities have shifted. We can't continue to pursue this contract. And this force majeure clause on every contract is there to say, look, if it's beyond your control, you have the right to cancel the contract.
Yeah.
It can't continue, and you don't even have an obligation to pay for the term of the contract.
Yeah.
Right. Things have come up that are of priority. So nothing is guaranteed on projections. But if you can come to me and say, look, I've been doing 30,000 every month. I have this clients, right? But I want to grow. Now I want to buy big machines, because this client, sometimes I have to take their things to the other dry cleaner. It's costing me money.
Well, I'm delaying them as well.
And I'm delaying them, and I might lose business. So now I want to buy a big machine. So now we'll be moving from 30,000 to 100,000. But right now, I want to borrow money, but I'm not reliant on the additional 70,000. I'm reliant on what I'm making every month, what I'm sure I will be able to make. So those are conversations that are very difficult for people to hear. People just feel like they should be given money. And I'm not even speaking for government here, but I'm just saying people need to understand how business is done. I mean, even for us, if somebody comes to you today and says, do you have some money? Maybe you have some money packed up. It's your family money. You've been doing some things, and you made a bit of money. You have 500,000 set aside, and then somebody comes to you and says, "Look, I've got this gig. Can you give me 500,000? I'll pay you 750,000." Right? If you are not a micro lender, you are probably going to say, "What project is this?"
Yeah.
You want them to explain.
I want to see it.
You want to see it. And then they start explaining. You feel like, hey, there are too many gaps here, and this guy doesn't look like he understands what he's saying. Maybe it's a good idea, but this guy doesn't seem like he has invested a lot in this project himself. You are going to hesitate, even when there was an opportunity to make money, because an opportunity to make an extra 250,000, it's not as big as losing your 500,000 saving.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. So now, obviously, and I think you brought something interesting there. Start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Chema Chema is here. Trust me, we are all judging it.
Yeah.
Right? I personally looked at Chema Chema and said, government is creating a culture of loans. Just last year, that's a loan. I'm going to lose my simuame. I should go and get Chema Chema. But this Chema Chema to me is a loan with 2.4%. I'm going to end up in debt.
Yeah.
We are judging it. And then others are saying, why? This is only BDP trying to campaign.
Yeah.
It's campaign money. Throw it around, and then that's it, right? So even if I apply for it, maybe I'm not going to take responsibility. I'll say, no, I know they're using this money to win elections. So it's okay if I don't return it.
Yeah.
But how do I get myself to understand that? Put the politics aside, put the fears aside, go fill the it's only 2 pages. Fill the 2 pages, get the money.
Yeah. I think it's funny because every institution, when they do something, there's an ulterior motive, right? Why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe I started a business because I really want to holiday in Paris, right? And I told my wife that I really want us to do Christmas in Paris every year.
Yeah.
That's why I have to have a business so that we can make a lot of money. So if my clients were to know, one of the reasons why I started a business, should they now stop shopping from me or getting services from me, right? Everyone has to look at what they can gain from the project, right? So whatever motive that government has, it's neither here nor there. What is important is, can 50,000 help your business today?
Yeah.
Can 10,000 help your business today? That is the question that you need to answer. But I think the greatest problem that we have, I think, as a community, is that we look at debt and we associate debt with a burden that eventually gets people poor. But we have never reversed the conversation to say debt is an instrument that has actually created a lot of wealth.
Yeah.
The moment you start looking at debt as an instrument that creates wealth, everything changes. When somebody comes and says, I'll give you money, you pay me 2%, 3%. If now you understand that, you are like, wow, I'm going in. Because you understand the market rates.
Yeah.
You know that it's more expensive to get debt from a commercial bank, even from the likes of CEDA.
Yeah, even CEDA will hit you hard.
Even CEDA will hit you hard. But if somebody comes and says, look, we'll give you debt at 2.4%, right? That is a huge advantage.
And it's not again compounded.
And it's not compounded.
Yeah.
And that favors like that come every once in a while. But then it's important for you to say, do you need the debt?
Yeah.
Because everyone who borrows money needs to be able to utilize the money for good so that the money works for them. Otherwise, anything that is charged interest, but you don't have a proper plan of using it, that interest is going to hit you. Every time when you hear somebody saying, this interest is killing me, is because they had a bad business model.
Yeah.
Whenever you complain, it doesn't matter how much I charge you. I can charge you 30%, and you will still borrow money from me. As long as you are making 50%, you won't feel like I'm charging you a lot. But if I'm charging you 30%, whatever you are going to do is giving you 10%. That is a bad model. You are going to cry. Even if I charge you 1%, and what you are doing is not giving you 1%, you are going to cry. You are going to say the interest is too high, right? So it's all a thing of what are we going to do with the money. Somebody right now who's maybe selling sweets at the market or selling food, they have some 3 serving dishes, right? I'm sure that person is saying, or that clients as they come every day, sometimes they're queuing and some have to queue on the sun, under the sun. That service provider is saying, if I could find another gazebo, if I could get some chairs so that my clients, after buying, they don't have to cross the road and go to their offices.
They can eat here.
Can eat here, right? If I could maybe get a truck full of gravel to put in front of my desk and put a small shade, maybe it will be nicer. It won't be dusty. People then can chill here. We're not talking about a lot of money. We are talking about maybe 20,000, 30,000 to do that thing, right? Can Chema Chema assist, right? But you can only find, or you can only see the opportunity if you are already involved in something. You are already selling food. You already know the challenges. So you don't need anyone to come and say you need Chema Chema. You already know. You only have one shade that covers the food. The people are not shaded. The people can't sit anywhere. Sometimes your clients, they eat standing because they like maybe hanging around your place. Sometimes maybe you are looking at that as a business person. You need to be thinking, I want my clients to be a lot more comfortable. Can 50,000 assist? Can you buy the tilos that say because kanile one with 500 pool. You can literally get 10 of those for $5,000. Can Chema Chema assist? Get 10 of those. Your business is growing. So if we are looking at some of these products from a business point of view, these are things that are going to help people. But the only concern that I have is perhaps the assessment, because I don't like people being funded to start.
I think starting, and I'm looking at Chema Chema, it might not be viable to start, but it will be viable to, again, emerge the sector. I think that's why it's going for the informal sector. An already existing business would benefit better or see more light out of this than someone who's trying to start. Right? Or you're going to, let's say you're going to G West, the spa. People are selling vegetables. And the vegetables actually get rotten because they don't have any other shade to contain what they're supplying. So I think, like you are saying, trying to get it for that. But how do I assess my business to say, what I've been doing, I've been pushing, I've got 3 chefing dishes, but if I had 6, I'll probably have 1 serving point there, 1 serving point there. How do I assess and say I can go for this fund?
Normally with that, I always say, as a business person, you can become too ambitious for your own good at times. And when you develop faster than your clientele, you are going to lose business.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, so you need to be at par with your clients. As they grow, you also need to be growing, right? You can't grow a lot faster than them. You can't force people to start using technology. You can't force it, right? It's a gradual process. Otherwise, you are going to bring in systems that are not going to be taken up. And then you'll be paying for maintenance and service and all of those things, right? So as a business person, you are going to sit down and say, I have this. Do I need Chema Chema or don't I need Chema Chema, right? Your clients will always tell you the next steps of your business.
Yeah.
They will complain about something. You look at the complaints and then see how you can resolve them. Is resolving that complaint, does it require for you to increase the number of your serving dishes or to improve your menu or to add some things to your menu, right? Are customers complaining about the time it takes for you to serve them? What is the problem? Is the problem the fact that it's only you don't have another person helping you, or you have only one serving side, you need two serving sides, right? Are customers complaining about the shade, like we speak about? Are customers saying that you should also offer drinks, right? Are customers saying that you need to get closer to them, which might mean that you might need a mobile kitchen, right? So customers will tell you. Customers always tell us. I mean, with my business, everything that I have done it because customers were saying something. I initially was running an insurance agency. So as I was doing that, to sell insurance, you have to teach people first what insurance is, how it works, how the investments work, how the risk products work. And as we were continuing to do the trainings, people were saying, but you're a good trainer. Why don't you consider teaching people about these things? Because a lot of people don't teach us about these things. So what do? We register a training business. And then now we start training formally. As we are training people, people are saying, some of the things we can't say, in front of people. Can you maybe consider having us on a one-on-one? So what do? We set up a contact center where now people can call in on a one-on-one, right? And then other people are saying, but the things that you teach are so powerful. If only so many people can hear about it. So what do? We record what we teach and then we give it to people. And then now a lot of people are hearing. So you keep on expanding because your clients are saying. But trust me when I say, everything that the clients were telling me are things that I thought about initially when I started business. I wanted to do all of these things, but I couldn't do them because the clients were not ready. I had to wait for them to give out a signal to say, get to the next stage, get to the next stage. Imagine if I had set up, in 2017, I had set up an insurance agency and a training business and a media business and have all of these other businesses were not going to work. Yeah. And it would have been a waste of money.
But how do I measure that patience though? Because I think it takes a lot of patience to want to go and do that. How do I pace myself patiently for that? Maybe I'm seeing your business. I'm saying, Ignite Wealth is doing 1, 2, 3. I'm going to photocopy you today and start doing you today in full scale without knowing how you started. So how do I pace myself and say, okay, but this works for me first while I do this?
Yeah. No, you need to be quite deliberate in understanding your market. Everyone has their own market, right? Yeah. You might get too excited to see what I'm doing and then you think you'll do it. But you don't know that I did that thing in phases, right? And that is where that is why I am where I am, right? So for anyone, you observe your market, right? You need to do a lot of market study. Have conversations with your clients. Now, for me, I always feel like I don't need to do like market research where you are going to ask random people. I'm in the streets everywhere. I ask my clients. Yeah. I ask my clients, how do you want me to better serve you? I've been doing this for you. Is it enough? And then the client says, you can always add this. You can always do this. When you teach, you can always maybe have more exercises during the training. Maybe sometimes you can bring us some goodies. Maybe sometimes you can create a competition so that we know that at the end of the training we can win this. We can get a book and something like that. that's normally how I improve things. I just ask them after every training. I ask them when I sell my book, I give it to someone. I ask them, please read and give me a review.
Yeah.
If you would, what can we improve in there, right? But a lot of people don't like that kind of feedback because it might not be a good type of feedback. It might be, you want the truth? Yeah, I'm just buying from you because you are near, but the food is horrible.
Yeah.
You might get that. And when you get that, it's feedback, right? And you can keep that client who's getting horrible food from you if you can improve. Because if you don't, if somebody who comes to set up next to you is serving good food, that client can't be loyal to you because they were only buying from you because you were the only one.
So convenience. For
convenience, right? So that's really how I prefer gauging this, right? So that you can also control your thought process. If I tell you right now the ideas that we have as a business, what we want to put forth, some of the things they just come and then you are like, dang, this is a really, really crazy idea. It's going to blow. And then you read it again and then again and then again, and then you sit down and you are like, this thing is not for now. Let me pack it a bit. Let me pack it a bit. We'll introduce this in phases. Sometimes it's not a thing of just packing the whole idea. It's just to say, okay, this is a great idea, but let's do it in phases. Yeah. Like if you want to set up a radio station, you don't need to be fighting with Bokra right now and doing registrations and stuff like that. Nobody stops you from doing a podcast. So you do your podcast, and then as you start gaining your following, you are speaking to your followers and say, how else can we serve you and stuff like that. And then you realize that you need to add another element to your podcast. Maybe now put your podcast online on different platforms. And then when it goes there, you start getting more traction. And then you are like, okay, no, maybe now it's time for us to register with the regulator and do this and that. But most people always like to go the highway, before they understand what is happening on the ground. And then
but again, we see the money there. The money is there. It's not on the ground.
Yes, but that is the point of arrival.
Yeah.
You don't start by arriving. You see, you
start climbing.
Yeah, you start by climbing. You have for you to get to Frenstown, you have to pass Atishia.
Yeah.
You can't skip it, right? So there's a road that you have to take. But people just love to move from Gaborone and then they get to Frenstown. That is where most of the frustration comes from, because people don't understand building and the fun that comes with building and the strength and the wisdom that you get as you build. Because you might find that your destination, yes, you can see it, but you are not there yet. But as you continue to build, you find that it gets clearer. Because sometimes you think you are seeing 1 million at the top, but you didn't see the other zero at the end, or the other 2 zeros. You didn't see them. You just saw 1 million, kind of. Only when you start building, that is when that vision becomes clearer. You start seeing, no, this is not 1 million. This is actually 100 million. This is actually 1 billion, right? And then you get excited as you go there, right? But when things go wrong, when you get there, it's easy to know how to get back.
Yeah, easy to know how to start.
How to start, A lot of people, I've seen a lot of businesses which started from 0 to 100 quickly. When things go wrong, even things that could have been corrected, they don't know how to trace back their steps to correct, because they move from 0 to 100. And most of these businesses are businesses which started and then they sat in a room, did some documents, worked on a tender, and then maybe got some inside information, and then they got the tender, and then now they are multimillionaires as a business. But they don't know a business structure. They don't know. Now they start hiring people. They start getting to understand that people are difficult. They start getting to understand that there are taxes that need to be paid, there's administration, there's a company culture that needs to be created. All of these things they don't know. They just got to 100 billion. And then they just throw money at every problem.
Yeah.
Before you know it, that money is depleted, it's gone. But when you give the same opportunity to someone like me who has learned how to make 10,000, how to make 100,000, how to make 1 million, right? Over time, right? When you give me such an opportunity, I know that even when my employees come and say, but we have this idea, it will need 1 million, we need to buy this machine and this machine and this machine and this machine. I'm probably going to sit down and say, what will be wrong with us starting with one camera?
Yeah.
Why
or outsourcing it.
Yeah, or outsourcing it, right? And then see how we are going to be using it, whether it's going to be used every weekend or every day, right? If we are not using it every day, why should we buy it, right? So I can ask such questions. But I have seen guys who wanted to set up studios and they bought like BTV type of cameras, like they bought everything.
Yeah.
You know, now things are just sitting there. They're not being used right because you don't have content. You don't have content, but you have bought everything.
Yeah, you don't have a. Not to say there's no market. You don't have a market because you haven't seen your market.
Exactly.
You don't know your market, but you've gone for it.
Yeah.
But that then comes to this play, right? Let's look at how funding can be done. You want someone to have started, but they don't remember how they started. Because yes, most of our informal sector, and that's people like us, is that we have started. I don't remember what I started and how I started because I haven't been documenting it. I'm not saying keep fires, but I'm saying I haven't been documenting my journey because I was in a hurry to make sure that this thing can switch on and go, right? How am I now going to go back to Chema Chema or anyone and say, look, I need financing. I know here, if I did this, I would have gotten here.
So for individual businesses, most of them, they just started either out of passion or people were complaining about something and then you just came. You just started us. Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's really how most businesses are started. I mean, most businesses are not started with structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, very few businesses are started with structure. Maybe a government institution will be started with structure and policies and everything because there was a consultant and then they have to get in. But for most businesses, you just start by selling something until you realize that I can't do this thing by myself. I need to get someone. And then you get someone, you tell them, okay, this is how you are going to help me, and then they're helping you, and then it just grows. And then you find yourself getting another person. Right, so that's how it starts. So you find that there is no proper documentation, there's no proper this, but it is how you started that will always back up your idea. Even when you get money, you know exactly where to put in that money.
Yeah.
You know where that money is needed, right? But obviously, as the business continues to grow, you have to now change how you do things. You have to implement some policies. When employees are saying, I won't be showing up for work, now it can be a thing of, so now there's a document that needs to be completed and stuff like that. But these things happen over time. I mean, when I started my business, I remember because I was working in corporate, and financial institutions, corporates, they always look beautiful. They buy the best furniture, best boardrooms, nice interior design and stuff.
Yeah.
So when I started my business, I thought that was the way it needs to be done like that. So I set up, I painted nicely, put pictures on the wall, set up a boardroom, only to realize that my clients don't come to my office.
Yeah, you're going to be going to them.
I'll be going to them. So the money that I had put in setting up the office should have been money that I could have put in maybe branding a car and making sure that I have enough money to market out there, to go out, to travel.
Yeah.
But I spent that money in the office. But who was staying in the office? Me. Only me. And sometimes when you decorate that your office that nicely, you forget that you have to be out there, and then you spend too much time in the office just admiring it. Yeah. But your business is not one where people come to your office. Your business is the one where you have to go to people. So you didn't need that money that you say that you thought you needed. A lot of people think that they need startup capital, and when you ask them, what do you need with the money? No, I need to get cars, I need to get furniture for my office, I need to get a proper office because people need to take me seriously. That's what people say. And then you are like, but what is your product? What are you selling? It's a service. I'm a trainer. You are a trainer. So why do you need to have a nice office?
Yeah, but what if the licensing requirements from obviously our municipal offices, the council,
Yes.
need you to have an office?
Yes, and there's that. Even regulators,
Yeah,
I mean, your BQAs will say, before we license you,
you must have an office.
we want to see you at your office, and your office has to have so many square meters, has to have this and this, and you get that, right? We get that from NBFIRA, we get them from so many different regulators. They come up with things like that. We always argue them. We always argue them. Similarly to a church, you can't get a church license unless you have 150 people that have registered and said that they are going to your church, and then you are like, but I don't have a church. I need that license so that I can get these people. They're like, no, you need 150 people to have signed up. And then you're like, but am I permitted to even start a church right now without a license so that I can attract the 150 people? It's a conversation that, they always say, we don't know what to say, right?
Yeah.
So nowadays, the good thing is that there are so many platforms that can be used. There are virtual offices that can be set up. Bo Rigasi, I think.
Yeah.
You can go there, hire the office for the month that you'll be inspected. So when they come, they will inspect, they will find you have an office. There's actually access to a boardroom. There's actually access to a meeting room. There's a reception. So you are running an entire operation.
Yeah.
So they will come, they will give you your license. You don't have to lie and say this is your office. They know.
Yeah, it's rented for compliance.
It's rented for compliance. They know, but the rules are not saying it shouldn't be an office that is rented for those purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there must be an office.
There must be an office. Yeah. Or you can go to a friend and lease out for the time. You can pay them to say, look, I'll pay you 3,000 for the month. Because ke tota ke inspectiwa wena ntirela lease ya gore ke dirile yana. I mean, what we are saying right now, ha ruti batho botsotsi.
Yeah.
This is how you need to do it.
Yeah.
Because you can't go. How tsama wa go retisa a commercial building? The landlords will want maybe 2 months, 3 months security deposit for an office. And then they will give you a contract of 2 years, a lease of 2 years. If you cancel in 6 months, you are going to pay them for the remainder of the lease.
Yeah.
So there's no way you can survive as a business if you are always going to be saying, no, for me to get this license, therefore I have to go and hire a warehouse. The owner of the warehouse will get you to sign a lease that will get you into trouble. I know a lot of people who are now paying leases in places that are not even operating in. Because the landlord enforced the rules of the contract. So yeah, I mean, people don't have to go through that trouble. They can always use some of these tactics, use the virtual offices, or maybe use a friend, and get that so that they are compliant.
All right. So now, when you look at the informal sector, right, there is on idea, right. There's so much you can do within the informal sector. You can run a business from home. You can do this from home. But there are things that apparently they would have been said by the powers that be. It doesn't exist in our body. We are saying go and apply for Chema Chema to start a business or help grow your business. The minute you cross this amount of revenue,
How informal?
So at this point. So how do I get myself sorted for that?
Yeah, I think this one I think it's a bit tricky because we are highly dependent on these institutions to find a way to work together, so that, because the truth is, when I go to a government office and someone says, yes, we heard about Chema Chema, but Rona Aris I find that to be very, very irresponsible.
Yeah.
It's one government. You heard about it. You are the one who knows that for this thing to run smoothly, 1 or 2 have to be done, and you've not done anything about it. You could have called central government if you are in the council.
Yeah.
You could have called them and say, guys, before you launch, can we sort this out first? Because
on our end,
because I need my people to have a license. Otherwise, tomorrow I'll be shutting them down. Because I want alignment. So now we are running a government.
Yeah.
In my business, I always tell the guys that, guys, we are all doing the same thing. I don't want to hear the conversation here. Now I'm not in that department.
Yeah.
We don't do that. If a call comes in, you are the only person in the office. You are the salesperson.
You better have the
HR.
answers.
You are the MD. You are everything that day, right?
Yeah.
You answer, and the person is saying, "I wanted to buy this." You need to know all of our products that we are selling and how we are selling them, right? If maybe the client is being too technical and you can't answer, you just say, "Can you give me a few minutes? I'll call you back. I just want to clarify something." Yeah. And then you call the person who's technical, who can help you, and then they will either give you the information so that you can tell the client, or they will say, "Give me the client's number, I'll call them." We expect to see the same happening within government. Yeah. And this thing is not going to be done by the leaders of government. Mm-hmm. This thing will be done by people who have been employed, people who said that we can do the job.
Yeah.
Right? When you hear, everyone is talking about Chema Chema, but exactly what you are raising, we are going to get issues where people in certain government departments are going to say, "We don't know anything about that. We were never told," because they are waiting for what? For what do they call it? A telegram.
Yeah, the saving gram.
A saving gram, yeah. Yes. They're waiting for a saving gram. If they don't get it, to them, nothing gets done. But it's possible for them to raise the issue so that the saving gram comes immediately. Maybe it was an omission.
Yeah.
The saving gram didn't come through. So I know that misalignment between departments, it will obviously happen, more especially for products that are introduced quickly. I mean, Chema Chema, obviously, we heard about it the first time during the speech.
Yeah.
And then from there, now it is the rollout. And chances are, the conversation did not go through entire government before the speech. Yeah, so I think that alignment needs to be there. And if you find yourself, it's very difficult for the business owner to go to the council, and then the council says, "No, you are not informal." Yeah. Because you have access, you are making more than this, or you have revenue, what we call informal. Therefore, we can't recognize you as such. Then you need to be registered, right? It's very difficult. I hope with the system introducer, because when the systems they are going to ensure that there is real compliance.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm looking at how Chema Chema works, right? One, you're going to have to go to layer and register as a small business, right? Yeah. When I look at it, it looks like the best form out there, or the best system out there, because it has eliminated the need to go to council. To be honest, working with the city councils, it's exhausting, right? Yeah. But now you're going to be giving Chema Chema. You've been operating somehow, coming with a table and going, and you decide this time around, because where I'm operating, and that has made me an informal business operator. Yeah. Now I feel like you suggested earlier. Yeah. Council comes tomorrow morning. You've taken Chema Chema, you've bought a small structure, you've put concrete yana, then council comes in, wipes you out. Yeah. Right? How are we going to balance that to make sure that we protect the informal sector to a point where we understand, yes, they might not have a license, but there's no license, but they need to keep going.
Yeah. You know, personally, I'll give my personal views. Yeah. Personally, I don't think Chema Chema should be facilitated through your layers and your CEDA.
Okay.
And if they are facilitated through layer and CEDA, I do not think people should be going to layer or going to CEDA to access Chema Chema. Yeah. I think the informal sector, we know where they are. And most of the people who qualify, and qualification in this case, I'm talking about people who actually have something to back up why they're getting the money. Yeah. People who qualify are not going to get Chema Chema. people who Chema Chema is meant for, they're not going to get it. I'll tell you why. You see, people who are real on the ground, but Chema Chema, they don't have time
for queues
to go and queue. They don't. So for me, if SIDA is going to do it, and the reason why it shouldn't be done through SIDA and Leah, I don't think they're capacitated. I think the guys who are capacitated could be maybe private companies that are actually running hubs, entrepreneurial hubs. I think some NGOs could qualify by the small business and the informal sector. I think your what is this organization? UNDP, something like that. I think they yes, I think they could be involved, and then they could outsource some of the services to reach out to more people. The people that need to be funded are already on the streets. We go to them.
Actually, I'm seeing but Statistics Botswana also being able to come with a better formula for that.
Exactly. You see. So now, if you go to Broadest, we buy our vegetables go Broadest, right? You see any of those?
This is the biggest horticultural vendor in the country.
You see those people leaving their offices
no way
to go and queue for a day for something that is not going to come out in that day.
And it's not guaranteed.
They might have to come back another day, right? Yes, we have introduced online application.
No, but
right?
do most of them know it?
That's the thing. Most of them, they don't know it. Remember what we said, you can't force people to get to something. You get them there gradually, right? I give you the product, and then while I'm with you, I'm registering you online, right? At your office. And then I'll tell you, no, you don't need to come to my office next time. You just get in, right? Until we understand Botswana, we can actually have touch points with everyone. Without necessarily expecting them to come to our offices. So we need to be going to the people. Look, Mr. Ratshosa, rahobona oregisa airtime. And how long have you been here? No, I've been here for the past 10 years. How much do you make? 100 pula. On a good day, you can 200 pula. Oh, okay. So give or take, you can make like 4,000, 5,000 bucks in a month. Yes, I can. Okay, so business I was bootstrapping, my cousin or maybe my husband security guard on nets 500 right? But do you think you can improve your business? If you were to improve your business, no no, 5,000 because ke thoka cooler make bata cooler e leng gore e khona go tsidihatsa gape di drink e sa thokeng go tsengwa di ice ke nne ke tsamaya ka yone gape ke bata le bicycle ke khona gore ke pege dilwa ke khona gore ke tsamaya ka yone sente o bona tseo hela hanga di bona tseo ke itse business a me ano ya go gola ka customer tsa me di nna di lla ka di drink tse di bothithwana and stuff like that gape na go mo ithela ke sokola go ta ke di roele le mo kwata o toga hela ile gore wa affectega. Oh, okay, so madi ile gore wa thoka ke bokae? 5,000 I think o lekane gore o ka reka because cooler le ke bone ke bokana mo ke go bone ke bokana 5,000 total ka gone ho go sontse o rabe go sendiwa wallet ya 5,000
e bega stoko
motho a tsengetse 5,000 gone ho a ba registeriwa mo systeming and then a ba bolelwa gore kgwedi le kgwedi motho yo a ska expectiwa gore a te go SIDA a te go duela madi a go collectiwa mo strateng. I've seen that model working. I think it was Taiwan. So this guy was to a bank. So this bank in the big banks for Standard Chartered and others, right? So he comes, they want to do a model wa SME. And because the big banks are focusing on corporates and stuff like that. Now, this countries, you know what this country's informal sector is serious. About 10 kilometers, right? So this guy about, you know what, for penetrate the market, we can't compete with the big banks on the corporate side because it's not easy to move a corporate account from one bank to another.
Yeah.
Corporates don't make decisions. Or no, I mean, let's move our 10 billion from this side to this side. Get the board meeting, it takes time, and happy about why do they have to do it? So you might not win. So this guy about, okay, no, we are going to do small business, informal sector type. We are going to make sure that those people are banked because they were not banked.
Yeah.
Now, what do those people need? Most of their businesses, because so because this competition in their biggest revenue line is for display.
Yeah.
But the clients don't really want to go to the market. The clients want things to be delivered to them.
Yeah.
So then what the biggest revenue line will come on the delivery side rather than go to the market and actually buy themselves because everyone is busy. Now, for that to be facilitated properly, the guys who are doing well are those who actually have a scooter.
Yeah.
You see, so now, how about similar operator? They operate and save until they have money to buy a scooter. That is when now they know now that business is going to grow. So this guy about it, but there's so many of those guys who have not come to the level of buying a scooter. It takes time to raise money to buy a scooter. So that's where we come in. That's where we are going to lend them money. But we are not going to want them to come to us because then it will require for us to build more branches, to have more capacity at the bank. It will cost us more money to do that. And these are people by long we are not talking large volumes of money.
Yeah.
So we need to cut down on the cost. So he went to the market. He started registering these people manually.
Okay.
And then he will bring the money, analyze security, and then they'll bring the money, but 5,000 to guess what never collect not monthly. Every day they were getting an installment.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. So ideally then what we could be seeing is that we could actually empower other people who become the collectors of Chema Chema. And they're the ones who are selling Chema Chema. Look at how insurance is sold, right? Insurance is sold by people who are not even employed.
Yeah.
They go around and they will bother you for a meeting.
Yeah.
So if we empowered people and said, we're not going to give you Chema Chema. We are going to give you the license to loan out Chema Chema. Yes, you won't be the one giving the money. As soon as you finish that person on the tablet, we will activate the money from Bank of Botswana or from wherever to make sure the person gets the money. That means that on the interest of 2.4, can I be paid 1.2% as my payment for doing the Chema Chema, selling Chema Chema? I get my commission from there.
Yeah.
Can that work though?
Yeah, no, it can definitely work. It can definitely work. Look, people are going to be charged the 2.4%, right? I'm sure there will also be an administrative fee.
Yeah.
That administrative fee, it's money that is paid to the organization that administers the pain of getting the person and doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So the people that you are talking about, they can actually be paid from an admin fee, or a small percentage from the interest fee can be paid to them. Remember, as a once-off.
Yeah.
Right? But the bank or government is going to be getting interest over time. So the once-off can be paid to the person who is facilitating. That can absolutely be done. I mean, insurance has perfected that model. Banks have also done that.
If you look at this Capital Bank and the others, the way they're selling their loans.
Exactly. That's what moves. And you actually get to... The only reason why I advocate for that, more especially for loans, I used to work for one bank, right? So this bank was not the dominating bank in the market. There was one which was dominating. We know it, right? So I always wanted to work for the one which was dominating, right? And one of the reasons why I wanted to work for that one, it was very difficult for us to sell products from the other bank, right? So people were not used to us, and people were struggling with our products and stuff, right? So you know what we did? And we made a huge success at one point, to a point where now I got poached by the other bank, which I always wanted to work for, right? Because we were doing things right. What were we doing? we realize that people who come to the bank to seek loans, they already understand the system of the bank.
Yeah.
They come to seek loans. They understand the system to an extent that they will take the money and not pay because they know the system.
Yeah.
People who will actually pay properly, they don't come to the bank. They don't even know that they qualify. They don't even believe that they can be given money. So we started having a strategy to say, look, we are going out.
Yeah.
We are going to see these businesses. Some of them, we know them. Maybe we come up with a map and say, I know this business. This business has been here for so many years. There's no way this business cannot pay us back when we give them money. So we go there. Sometimes it's a family business. We sit with them and then we ask them the questions that we were just talking about here about somebody who's selling sweets.
Yeah.
Right? How long have you been running the business? What are your challenges? How did you fund it? Have you ever gotten funding from the bank? And they will tell you all sorts of controversial stories that don't exist. Like, no, nobody gives you money from the bank. We heard that. You guys give to your friends. People have those stories sitting in the office.
Oh, yeah, sitting here taking my idea to go and give it to your cousin.
Exactly. So it's been there. Yeah. So we started going and we realized that everyone actually wanted to get a loan.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no business which doesn't want money.
Yeah, business needs money to make
a
money.
properly running business. If you come to me today and say, Mr. Ratshosa, do you need money? I need a lot of money, right? The only people who don't need money are, one, people who are flushed with cash, or people who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know what they're doing, then you probably don't have an expansion plan. So if I give you $1 million, you don't know what to do with the $1 million.
Yeah.
You don't know where to put it. You might just buy a car and run around. But every business that has a plan needs money, right? It's only that they're thinking in their minds, no, we'll raise the money gradually over time from these profits that are there and from those profits that are there. But if they had an opportunity to borrow money now and do all of these things today, they would take it. So we started doing that and we sold so many loans. So when the other bank came, they found that, actually the other bank realized that something was happening when a lot of those companies now were moving their accounts.
Yeah.
That's when they were like, what's going on here? Why are people moving? And then you know what the clients were saying? No, we are going to a bank that actually gives us attention. I've been running business for 15 years. There's no bank representative who has ever come to my business.
But my money is coming to you.
But my money is coming to you. So I'm going to that bank, right? So similarly, that is what we expect your Chema Chemas, your Seeders to be doing. I don't expect a relationship manager or Seeder to be comfortable wearing a suit in an office. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I want to see a Seeder official walking the streets every day. Looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? Coming to businesses and saying, right now there's money that is coming into the country from the pension funds.
Yeah.
Couple of billions that are being brought back because they want to increase the quota. The pension money that has to circulate in our economy. And boardrooms are sitting. I know some guys who are sitting in the boardrooms, it's a BP or PF. And the concern is that there's not enough market for that money in Botswana. And I'm like, there's not enough market because you are always gauging it by people who approach you.
Yeah, you're not gauging it by people who don't know how to get to you.
People who don't know how to get to you. That is what you need. So when that money comes, engage us.
Yeah, outsource that money.
Engage us. So now we know the people who need money. People who actually qualify for that money. Some of these people, they don't even sell products locally. They export, but you don't even know.
Yeah.
Right? These are people who have been running businesses properly for so many years. These people, if we punch them with 5 million, these people are going to do wonders. Some of them, if you give them even 500,000, these people are going to do wonders. But the current style of lending does not suit them.
Yeah, but again, which then comes to say, I'm one person who doesn't like going to the bank.
Yeah.
If I lose my bank card, I'm done. I'll do cashless withdrawals or I'll pay via mobile because there is no way I'm going into a bank.
Yeah.
The life that I live, I don't qualify by time to enter a bank because I'm going to spend 5 minutes there, meet someone in a bad mood, come out of there pissed off. I need to be smiling in what I do for a living. So are these people willing to outsource that though? Because if we look at the money that's coming, or we look at the banks, or we look at this Chema Chema thing, is the system willing to outsource? Because we have the culture of not wanting to outsource or delegate.
Yes, I can't confirm nor deny that they are willing to outsource. But I would say from my own experience, I have observed that there's a culture of mistrust when it comes to engaging outside businesses or engaging some stakeholders to do what you do, right? There's a bit of competition between corporates and us as small businesses. But we set up small businesses not because we wanted to compete with corporates. And some of us, we did not set small businesses because we wanted to become a corporate. People need to understand the difference. There are small businesses which don't want to become corporates. They want to run as small businesses.
And that's where they thrive.
That's where they thrive. Even when they scale, they still scale as small businesses.
Yeah.
That's where they thrive. That is the market that's savvy. They serve corporates. There are so many companies that I know that serve corporates. Their mandate is just to serve the corporates. They design systems. Most of the systems that you see that we use online are not done by these corporates.
No.
They're done by small businesses. So sometimes it's a bit unfortunate when you find an organization that is big, that is mandated with improving the lives of Botswana, getting into Botswana homes and making sure that there's real change, but not willing to outsource. Because remember, part of empowering, it's making sure that you have companies that you have empowered to help you with your mandate. You have actually created employment just by engaging those companies who are then going to now be cascading the model down to make sure that now the clientele, the citizen, is actually taken care of. You spoke about the bad moods.
Yeah.
You see, somebody who goes to your business to find if there's an opportunity to help you can never come to your business with a bad mood.
Yeah.
But somebody that you find in their business at their comfort, right? On a Monday, when they had a bad weekend and you are coming on a Monday to come and apply, you can find them in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Right? Normally when people are in the streets, if they feel the mood is bad, they don't step out of the car. But the moment you see them now engaging with you, they're in a good mood. So I think we will get better customer service if things are done like that, because these companies then can be assessed by ratings. The person that was helping you, did they help you properly? Then institutions like your CEDAs and your layers, their job will be to implement systems that ensure accountability, that ensure proper assessments, that ensure proper collection. Their money will be more on systems. And then the people who will be riding around on the ground will be companies of me and you, right? I mean, right now, if you look at this project that they have done, let's read.
Yeah.
Listen, right?
Yeah.
Politics aside, right?
Yeah.
Yes. You can see the mileage.
Kimogak,
right? You can see the mileage because he's an independent contractor, right? He doesn't really work for SEDA. Yes, he gets the mandate from SEDA, but he's able to innovate. You know, he does his travelings, he does his videos, he does his shorts, and then he advertises the business in a way that they themselves, they wouldn't be able to do it if it was their mandate.
Yeah, actually, even if they were to hire him full time to do that as an employee of SEDA, I don't think the employment itself will allow him the expansion of boundary to be creative.
Yes.
His creativity is driven by the freedom to be himself.
Absolutely.
So I think I get where your point then there goes to say, SEDA is there, it's okay. You know, let them do the official things. Let them say, SMS me and tell me, we received your application, which was brought in by Ratshosa, an independent contractor you met on this day.
Yes.
Because Ratshosa is the one person who is able to verify to SEDA that particular business exists because I pass there every day and this is why I went to there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then it's money is not a problem when because remember these institutions are funded by government and they are supposed to be independent in the way that they run their financial models. But when you look at capacitation, they will be complaining about capacitation all the time. We are not getting enough funding from government. Government doesn't have money. Therefore, that's why we don't have a branch there. That's why we don't have.
The act doesn't allow us to do this.
Exactly. They don't even need to have branches.
Yeah.
They don't. We set up branches. I'll mend the branch in Gaborone. You do the branch in Maung. There's someone in Kasan, there's someone in Shakawe. We will use our own resources to set up those branches and hire people and train those people with our resources, not government resources. Right? And then we will do what they were supposed to do. But if it's them trying to expand across the country, it costs billions of pula. Because for them, because they come from a higher power, they are going to try to implement policies before they even set up a branch, and then there has to be a minimum pay for an individual who gets 30,000 plus insurance of this, plus medical aid, plus pension, and
buy cars,
provide this and that. But for me, I will run a lean structure, but very effective. Right? Very effective. All they need to do is just to make sure that we don't abuse. We contract the right people who are qualified. I mean, Botswana does that. Botswana goes to an extent of checking if you are paying your employees well. They can also do that, but still, the people who are running, the subcontractors of Botswana cannot have a cost operation like Botswana. Theirs will be leaner. And that's why you find that mines like to subcontract. Most of everything that is done in the mine is done by subcontract. But they run the administration and making sure that everything is accounted for properly. Then there's efficiency in running a system like that. So for me, I don't see why businesses like myself shouldn't be getting a couple of millions from government to run some of the things that they want to run. But sometimes it's unfortunate, and it's not government, it's just people. Sometimes we bring a proposal to one of the departments, one of the organizations, and say, this is what we can do. Then when you get there, someone is like, no, but we already have something similar. We've been doing this. I mean, I teach finance. I can't tell you how many organizations I've gone to that tell me that they also teach finance. I'm like, where have you taught finance? You think I'm in this industry because I don't do research? I do a lot of research. I know that you don't do it, right? That's why I came to you, and you are telling me that you are doing it. Where have you done it? They're like, no, sometimes we go to schools, we teach. I'm like, you're talking about your CSR projects that you do for one day. Like 1 day out. And then all the employees are spread all over. They're going to educate. You think that will make an impact? We run programs that have to run on a daily basis. We write books, we create curricula, right? You don't do those things. That is not the core of your business. And you shouldn't even be bothered to get yourself involved in such a thing. It's too tedious. Give it to us. We will do it, right?
All right. So now let's look at 500 million, right? Is it feasible?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I think it's a lot of money.
Okay.
Whichever way you look at it. I mean, if you consider an informal sector, these are businesses that don't really need more than 5,000. Sometimes need even 2,000. So it can be a lot of money that can help a lot of businesses. But it will be highly dependent on whether the people can pay back the money. Because if we are going to run it like most of the programs that we have run, where people are given money and the collection is not aggressive, that means that every year government has to be putting in 500 million.
But is it guaranteed to be every year though? Or is it a once-off deal?
No. The way that they have set up Chema Chema, it's supposed to be a once-off deal. So it's 500 million put in, it's a revolving. People are getting money, and then as they pay, others are getting money. So it just continues running like a wheel. It keeps on.
But do you think it's going to do that though?
Well, I don't. Okay, history tells me that we have not been very successful at doing that. That's why we still have a youth development. It's called ND
Fund, YDF.
Yeah, we still have youth development fund that has to be punched in money every year. It's not supposed to be like that. It has to self-fund.
There should be a subvention for that because it's a business.
Exactly. It's a business. It has to be run like that. So normally they will do, I think they used to do 300 million per year on that program alone. So if you put in 300 million, you fund young businesses. Next year, you shouldn't be putting in anything. For the next 10 years, you shouldn't be. You are only going to put in more money when you feel like the project is becoming a success. Therefore, you need more money to revolve.
Or to increase the bracket.
To increase the bracket. But you are not going to be putting in money because you are starting afresh. Right? That's how it's supposed. So the reason why I was saying yes and no, yes in the sense that I think it's sufficient money for the sector that is being targeted, but I think it will be the sustainability of it will be highly dependent on whether they will be able to collect the money so that they can continue to help others. Because you can get the 10,000 today if you are running a proper business. You get the 10,000 today and you can return it at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Which means that somebody else can have access to it, or you yourself can have access to it again. But knowing how we've been running things in the past, chances are you are going to get money today, and then you return the money, and then after 2 weeks you want to get the money again, and then you find that there's no money because people haven't paid. Now we are going to have 2 years of trying to collect from people. Before you know it, and I remember the informal sector, sometimes somebody operates today, tomorrow they don't operate.
Yeah.
So you might fail to collect entirely. That's why it goes back to what we were discussing to say, let us not be funding people who are coming to the office.
Yeah.
Let's go and find people who are actually operating.
Who operators themselves.
Themselves. Those are people that can pay back to sustain the fund.
So how are we going to build this? Because right now, Chema Chema is trending because you know how Botswana is, right?
Yeah.
One hit wonder. It's trending now because it is a now thing, and people are motivated to apply for it because by its order, there is no way I'm going to get a no because right? Next year, I don't think the word Chema Chema will be you. Yeah.
Next year, not but it's I think it's a bad culture that we have.
Yeah.
Politics aside, it's a year of elections. Yes, obviously, politicians will want to. Is the last race. They're reaching the final point. So obviously, they are going to try to implement a couple of things quickly. But instead of taking advantage of such opportunities, we act temporarily.
Yeah.
To those things. I mean, if I can get access to 1 million or even 100,000, that 100,000 should set me up for life. I need to be thinking long term. So, program it shouldn't matter to me. Now, for me, I have to say, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to apply. I'm going to get the money. This money will set me up for the next years. If for that program, now you will have get some idea. I will have one program then expand the business. So I think for me, it's just a bad culture that we have. I've been to SA. There's an incubator in Cape Town, one of the biggest incubators South Africa for small businesses. And I remember at the time in what is that university? I forget the name of the university. So they are running this program where small businesses are incubated for some time, and then at the end of the incubation, they stand a chance to win some money, and they can start their plans and their models, right? And at the time when we went there, I was working for a bank. We wanted to implement a similar model for small businesses. And guess what? I was there listening to guys pitching, guys coming as far as your Tanzania, your DRC. I'm coming to South Africa to pitch their models, and these were brilliant business ideas. And do you know how much those guys came to ask for? Most of them, they were coming for 70,000 rands, 100,000 rands. I was like, what?
You came all the way for that?
All the way for 100,000 rands. And this business model is like solid, and then they would be funded by the private sector. So corporates will be invited to come and listen to the pitches, and then if the idea is suitable to a particular corporate, they will say, look, we'll give you an offer. You can actually create that system for us, and then we'll pay you this and this. And I was like, it was a real eye-opener to say we are so fortunate in Botswana. Like the money that these guys probably spent years building a proposal for, this is money that you just get, Botswana.
Yeah.
You just get this money. Like you wake up Mapakela, design a small business plan without a solid idea, you get this money.
Yeah.
I was like, we're so fortunate, but we are wasting these opportunities.
So what if we do this, right? And I've seen a lot of companies doing that, and I think our most recent visitor, the one we talked about, they do that in their country, right? You look at Estonia, they've got something of that sort.
Yeah.
Why don't we then say, okay, we do have Chema Chema, right? We know that our biggest informal sector is Botswana, yes, but there are other people in that sector, right, who are coming from Zimbabwe, some are coming from other countries, or Kenya and whatever. How about we had a fund that creates startup culture to facilitate competition in the country and tell them, in Botswana, yes, we do have 500 million.
Yeah.
Come and Chema Chema with us, but your Chema Chema must end right here.
Yes.
With the Botswana. Because they've got the ideas and they've got the hard work spirit.
Yes. I think, and obviously, this won't sit well with a lot of Botswana, because I think not just Botswana but Africans, I think we have this bad culture of thinking that you are my people, and a Zimbabwean or a Zambian or a South African are not my people. I think we are so misled because we have this culture of saying we want to develop our own people, right? But when you look at the real development of us as a people, we have been developed by Zimbabweans who were teaching us in school. We have been developed by Indians who have been helping us in the hospitals. We have been developed by white people who came, set up corporate structures and taught us corporate structures. And now we can set up a corporate of our own, right? Because we were borrowing all of these models from other people. But now we have started a culture of saying all of these people should be out. We want to do our own thing by ourselves for our people. That's where development stops. You remember our education. I mean, we talk about our education and how it has been going downhill. Our education started going downhill the moment we decided that we want to localize teachers.
No more foreigners.
No more foreigners. Now, when I was going to school, it was I did public school all my life, and I remember at junior school, I had an Indian teacher, I had a white teacher, I had a Zimbabwean teacher, I had a Zambian teacher. And when you look at all those teachers, most of them, they were coming from a point that was of strength from where they were coming from. The Indian was teaching us, I think, maths, and they were also in the sciences and also home economics. And then you found Zambians on design and technology. And then you found
Zimbabweans and Ghanaians were teaching English.
They were teaching English, and then they were also doing agriculture. And then you found white people. They were doing English and commerce. It was fun. It was like a private institution, right? And we were doing so well. And the thing that brought so much competition was that when they came to your school, they came with their kids. So we were in class with Indian kids. And those people, their culture was totally different. The kid will be with us in class. They will listen attentively from lesson 1 to the last lesson. And then after class, they go straight home. And then they start reading. And then when you ask them, they tell you, no. After school, I have to go and read, because if my parents find that I did not read after school, I'm going to be in trouble. When they get number 2, you can see
they
that
get frustrated.
They get really frustrated because they know that they're going to get a whipping, right? So because we were in the same classes with them, our performance started to improve because we were borrowing from their culture and their practices, right? We were improving. But since all that ended, now it's all Botswana teachers who mostly come into teaching because they couldn't get their right professions.
Or they couldn't get the points they were hoping to get.
The points they were hoping to get. And then they will get into teaching, and then we are going to have all these horrible stories of teachers abusing students, of teachers who hate their job, of teachers who are always complaining about money. I was listening to the story of Estonia when they spoke about teaching. You remember, there's something they say, Estonians, they say, because their independence came just
recent,
just recently. And when they were asked, they said why they developed so quickly. They said, we've always been getting ready for our independence. Ever since, even during the time when we were colonized, we were getting ready for our independence. So when our independence came, we implemented everything that we wanted to implement. Because for us, our independence didn't come, 99. It has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Right? And then they spoke about the teaching profession. Yes, teachers don't earn so much money, but they earn decently. But they said that our teachers are top of that class.
Yeah.
We only take top for teachers.
So to qualify to be a teacher, you have to actually be very smart.
You have to be very smart, because these are people who are grooming the next engineers, the next doctors, the next presidents. If you
but here it's a fallback plan.
Yeah, here it's a fallback plan, which is a problem. And I know that unions will fight and say, no, this is not right, because the problem is that teachers are not paid well. Even in Estonia, teachers are not the highest paid profession.
I don't remember anywhere in the world where teachers
are the highest paid. Yeah, but it's just a deliberate decision to say, if you are going to become a teacher, you have to be the best among the best. Of people who can actually teach, someone who's going to be the thinker of tomorrow for our country.
It's a master.
Yeah.
Right? You have to master something to teach it.
Yeah.
Right? And be passionate about it.
Yeah.
But that culture is gone. We live in a culture where, I personally never wanted to become a teacher.
Yeah.
But when I came from university and I came back to Botswana, I went into a corporate space of operations. Along the way, I felt, no, man, these kids I'm working with are not getting it. So I decided I'm going to go and teach journalism, because I feel there must be a certain thing about it that you can do.
Yeah.
I taught for a while as a lecturer. Then I eventually left and moved to corporate.
Yeah.
But what made me want to teach, when I left Form 5, I did not in any way want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
But when I was working on what I was doing, I realized that I'm receiving people into my office to work with me, but they can't do it.
Yeah.
So now, but how are we going to? We can't build that now. We can't change the system to say, to be a teacher go MCE, 36 points is enough.
Yeah.
We need to set a standard, but how are we going to set that standard?
Yeah. I don't believe that it's ever late. To change things. It's only that we want to achieve everything in the shortest space of time. Well, we just need to change that culture and say we want the next crop of teachers to be at this level. We want the next crop of doctors to be at this level. So we are going to start today, and we are going to do this plan for the next 20 years. That is only how you can change things.
Yeah.
You can't change anything overnight. I tell people that we train people on wealth creation and finance. And last time I was having a conversation with one friend from corporate, and I was telling them, one of the reasons why you guys don't fund us, you want us to give you instant results.
Yeah.
I have a 40-year plan of what I'm doing. 40-year plan. They were like, 40 years, you'll be like 80 years or so. I'm like, yeah, I have a 40-year plan. Because right now I'm teaching fundamentals.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone always see me, teaching, I'm talking about save money, put money here, and people are like, no, this guy doesn't understand finance. They don't know that my training is actually in investment banking, right?
Yeah.
So I can really speak sophisticated finance.
Yeah.
I don't do it because it doesn't help anyone. People have been left behind. People don't understand the foundation, the basis.
Yeah.
They don't know how to buy a suite for 25 tab and sell it for 50 tab. They don't understand what happens there.
Yeah.
What you have created, right? So then I'm going to teach those basics. We are going to do this maybe for the next 5 years or so, which will complete 10 years of what we have been doing. And then when we are done with that, Now we get to the next level where now we teach people debt management, proper debt management, how to leverage debt, right? We're going to do that for a couple of years, and then from there we teach people business. And then now, after teaching people business, now when we know that people know how to make millions, now we are going to teach sophisticated type of finance, which speaks about estate planning, talking about generational wealth, things that you have to, creating money now, not just for you to survive, right? But if I teach you now all those things, right, you are going to feel, this is too much.
Yeah, but I don't even know money in the first place.
You don't
so
even
what
know
are you
money in the
teaching
first place, right? Yeah. So that's where the problem is. But now I can't. It will be very difficult for me to convince a board that wants to achieve something within their term. So I'm going to tell them about my 40-year plan, and they'll be like, "Hey, bruh, I'll be dead in 40 years. I want something that
my term is ending in 4 years.
My term is ending in 4 years. I want something that can show results in 4 years, right? And then I'll be like, okay, look, these are the phases of my development.
Yeah.
Look at the first phase. If it favors you, then go for it. And then I'll be like, no. I want us to emphasize more on the sophisticated type of finance, business finance. And I'm like, you are going to teach people business. You see the problem that we have with your YDFs.
Yeah.
The problem is not that Botswana don't understand how to start a business and how to run a business. That's not where the problem is. The problem is that Botswana don't understand the fundamentals of finance.
Yeah.
How to behave as an individual. When I give you $100, right, and I see your eyes lighting like this, I know that we have a problem. And then when we have a problem with $100 and then we give you 100,000, we have a bigger problem. Now we are going to have issues of drugs and people trying to chow that 100,000, because that is what we have been taught. We have been taught to spend money.
Yeah.
And you can't teach someone to stop spending money over a one-day session.
Yeah.
Or in 1 year, when they have learned how to spend money for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
You think you can change them in 1 year?
No, they need to have assimilated themselves into that culture.
Takes time. Takes time to get them out. So you are going to teach them in different ways over time and keep on now getting to the next year and getting to the next year. So to get back to your question of, can we change the system of education? Yes, we can, but we have to change the mindset of saying we will achieve this in the next 5 years. Even for politicians, those that I have interacted with, I always tell them, look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a plan that is way beyond your term, because those are the only plans that work. And then when the next politicians comes, sit down with them and tell them, dude, we were working on a 30-year plan. This is where we are. Can you start from there? Now, everyone who comes to office, they come with a new plan. That's why we are not going anywhere.
But again, I think maybe it's because our bureaucracy is ran by politicians more than by people who develop those policies.
Yeah.
What still shocks me a bit is that the permanent secretaries, who are literally supposed to be the ministers, they also don't have a power. They also listen to the minister. If the minister comes in tomorrow, or let's say I'm a minister today of health, and my priority is smoking and lung disease, then I'm changed. The next one who comes, who maybe studied or didn't even study, but feels his priority is cancer. It means now my priority, my budget that I had allocated them has changed, right? Can we really manage this if our politics are that way?
You see the thing about politicians, right? Politicians do what the people want. That is their job.
No, they're supposed to do what the people want. Yeah.
They do, yes.
But they don't do it. They're supposed to.
No, they're actually doing what the people want.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right? And I'll tell you why I'm saying that, right? When you speak to a politician, most of them, you look at them or you listen to them, you might feel they're a bit dumb. They don't understand what the people want. No. These guys, they go on holidays with their families in Europe and stuff.
And they see this good thing.
They see this good thing. It's not like they don't see. They have friends. Some of them, they have studied that side.
Yeah.
They know this. Everything that we always say they don't know, they know, right? But you know why they don't do it? because they feel that we are not ready, we don't understand what needs to be done. So they're just working with our times. The moment we show them that we understand better, you are going to see a different politician.
Yeah.
Because they only fit into our profiles because they can't go outside of what we want. So when you see them doing something, they are doing something that we want, right? Because politicians are the people who are actually going on the ground, speaking to people or observing what people are saying. So when they realize that what people want, le magunya, the whole day, that is what the politician is going to do. Because if batu babata supule magunya, when a very technical system that you are trying to implement, you think those people are going to
resistance? You
are going to lose elections.
Yeah. So you get resistance right there.
You get resistance right there. So one of the reasons why we need better teachers and nice educators, we need to educate. We are educating people so that now the politician can do what the advanced person wants.
Yeah.
The very same politicians that we want, most of these guys are smart. They're not dumb.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to them and what they teach their children, you realize that these people know. They know.
Yeah.
Right? But why are they doing that? They're doing that. It is us. We are the problem.
We have set the bar.
Yes, we have set the bar. So, bone, gore inne kana ba politiki ke batho ba batho. Gore nne motho wa batho, gore o dire se batho ba se batang.
And I guess that explains why le politiki la mo toropong, le politiki la ko magaeng don't do the same things.
Exactly. They don't. And what's funny, you find the same politician. Gore o itela le gore ha ngwe ne le politiki la go gaileo. Highly educated.
Yeah.
But way more than how ngwa mo ga borone, but how ka o mo reetsa gore o bua ka eng?
He goes down.
Ga tshepisang. Ga tsene kwa ba simola bua gore we need to integrate government systems. We need to have a centralized financial system where we are going to have SWIFT there. They can't. They know those things, but they're not going to have that conversation. They're going to get there.
Yeah. He's integrating, but he's not telling you he's integrating.
Exactly. So it's a very tricky thing, and unfortunately it's going to continue being like that until our people get to a certain level of education. That's why we need to start with the education system, perfect it over time, and then we are going to start seeing new graduates, better thinkers. And better thinkers, when there's a political rally, they're not going to have a political rally.
No.
They will say this rally will have to happen either at a stadium, standing politician and some standing a roving mic so that we can actually ask questions. It has to be done by us, and then the politicians will come to the party. I'm telling you, you will see when we get to that point, you are going to start hearing now politicians having real conversations.
Yeah, even voter apathy will actually.
Yeah.
You'll
be like, what? Is this guy the same guy who used to make jokes in parliament? Now abuaka policy, abuaka the rule of law properly, abuaka all of these things. Because they will know if they also in terms of education, they are going to be quicker to educate themselves because they know now that they're dealing with an educated voter. An educated, I don't mean a degree holder.
Yeah.
I mean someone who is educated, someone who knows, someone who makes time to know.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you are going to see a different politician. So this thing, we want our politicians to change. Change for who?
So we have to set that bar. Our politicians are as sophisticated as we make them.
Exactly.
Yo. Yeah, then that goes to explain a lot of things because I've seen how they translate, from one constituency to another.
Yeah.
The way they translate mindset change is not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same words.
Yeah.
They don't say the same things. They don't say the same explanations because he believes in Gaborone. You have to tell someone, change how you do things.
Exactly.
So I think that then makes sense. But should we trust them now to articulate Chema Chema down to where they are.
So that's why now we'll always go back to there's no reason for us to trust a politician.
Okay.
A politician does what we do. If you don't trust the politician, then you shouldn't trust yourself.
Yeah.
Because you are the one who gives them the mandate to have power over you, to run things on your behalf. So everyone who gets people to have power on their behalf, if they don't trust that person, therefore we can't trust the people. So for me, it's a thing of continuing to educate people. That's why we are talking about Chema Chema and we are not taking the political route. We are saying, look, we shouldn't care what the motive of the politicians was when they set up Chema Chema. What matters is that, is it there or is it not there? I mean, in other countries, people can come and say, we have a fund called Chema Chema, it's 500 million and it's not there. Or you will hear that somebody actually stole all of that money. In a bag they went, right? But in Botswana, we know the fund will be there.
And people will post for I received it.
Yeah, the fund will be there and people will receive those funds. Now the question is, are you going to ignore the motives of the fund and focus on your own development? That is where mindset change really comes in. And I think when the president came up with the mindset change, I think it was a similar thing. I think the president realized that, look, I want to take this country somewhere, but I can't take it somewhere if the people are not ready to go somewhere. For me to get them somewhere, I need to get them on the same mindset level as myself, so that now we can move together. When I say system integration, immediately people start adopting, right? Have you listened to our president when he speaks, when he's in Europe or when he's in America? Totally different from when he speaks. The
level of
it's on a different level. So when he gets there, he gets sophisticated. He downgrades to our level. Those are the people who get frustrated because but the thing is, because they are of the minority.
They are the 1% of
the 1%. They're not the ones who are going to put a particular party in power. They're the 1%. So if they get frustrated, but politicians will always work with the masses. The masses are the country, the citizenry, right? So if the citizenry is below par in terms of mindset, then what are the politicians have to get there so that they get the citizens to put them into power, right? But then what I worry, it's only that maybe the president doesn't have enough time to push his mandate. But it depends on mindset change. It's 20 years or more to get people to that level where now children from primary school understand what the role of a member of parliament is. I mean, we still have elders who have done degrees who think the role of a member of parliament is to go to Kaulo ya sewage line. That is not the role of a member of parliament. Their job is to create policies at municipal level. With the councillors and staff to do but we still have degree holders who don't understand the mandate of the member of parliament. So when a member of parliament comes and says something that is not true, saying what it's outside of their mandate, you can believe them because you don't know what their job is. And then now members of parliament are forced to lie. Because when
and which then goes to the Kota meeting. There are certain things that I've seen MPs launching that could have been launched by councillor, because they're the ones that that particular word. But this is a difficult thing to do when it comes to Botswana, right? We have a plan, 20 years, 30 years, change the mindset. But what guarantees us that when MEK leaves, the next person who comes will drive the same changing spirit?
That one, it's a very difficult one. But if tota, I think it also goes back to what we've been discussing, to say if the people are educated well, the people will understand that the national development plans, there could be an element of politics in it, but they are for the best interest of the country. And these development plans, they are not for the term of the politician. They are normally long term. So whoever comes into power, they have to follow that development plan. But the only reason why sometimes people go outside of the development plan to come up with their own development agendas is because they know that we don't read these things and we don't understand them. If we understood them, then when a member of parliament comes to you and tells you, no, this is what I'm going to be doing, you tell them, no, say, but that is way far from the plans that we actually have. The National Development Plan speaks about exactly what you are saying, but not now. Priority right now, it's energy and this and this. If we know these things, nobody will lie to us.
Yeah.
But people lie to us because we don't know these things. And if a new party is campaigning and saying, we are going to change this and change this and change this, you tell them, no. That is not what our national development
You are moving
says.
away from our plan.
You are moving away from our plan. Because remember, the people who make the plan are not just the people who are in power. The people who make the plan are people who are in the system of government, including the private sector.
Yeah.
Those are the people who make the national development plan. And then it's approved, right, to parliament. And parliament thing has say only the ruling party. The others who also look at it and give their input and stuff like that, right? Once all of these things have been agreed, and we know we have a plan from now until 2040, right? That is almost 20 years, right? Yeah. They're going to, the BDP can move out, another party comes in, another party can come in, but that plan remains the same, right? But every time when there is a move from these initial plans, as an educated nation, we are supposed to be saying, but this program that you are introducing, where is it coming from?
Yeah.
Because when I look at the plan, I don't see something that comes close to this.
So it's eating on a budget that doesn't exist.
On a budget that doesn't exist. We are not going to achieve our national development plan if we continue having all of this cropping up programs. But we can't argue that because we don't know.
Yeah. And again, I look at what has been put together for the past budget. Chema Chema is within the mandates of development. It's within the mandates of what we want to get to. Because I think post-COVID is when we realized that the informal sector can come out of nowhere and decide to do what it's doing, and it's going to do it right. Yeah. Right? So we are in this space now. We're telling Botswana between now and I don't know when there's a closing date for this, or it's, like you said, supposed to be revolving.
Yeah.
Do Botswana understand that they don't have to run now to jump into that particular development, that particular policy, or that particular plan, all because it's been advertised today?
Well, if I was a Motswana, an average Motswana, I would rush.
Yeah.
Why? Because history tells me that such programs, they come and go. So I would rush to apply.
Yeah.
But as a business person who understands my vision and what I want to achieve, and understanding how these programs are supposed to run, I should not rush.
Yeah.
I should know that right now I'm working on this. I'll probably take advantage of the program next year, January, or next year, February, right? And I wouldn't even be advising people to rush, go and get the money.
Yeah.
You know, because if it's a sustainable project,
no
one should be telling anyone that they should rush. The only time when you hear people saying you should rush is because they don't believe it will last.
Yeah.
So if
it won't be there next year.
Yeah, if you hear politicians saying that, you need to be very careful. And we need to caution them. When you hear a politician or maybe an industry leader saying, rush for Chema Chema, just ask them, dude, you are mandated to run this program. Why are you telling people to run?
Yeah.
Isn't this program supposed to be revolving, and is it supposed to be sustainable for years to come? Why are you asking people to rush?
Yeah.
Right? Is there something that we don't know that you know? That this thing won't be there in January? You know, it starts to become scary. So for me, I think no one should rush. I wouldn't advise anyone to rush, but history also tells me that when things like this come,
Okay.
You have to rush.
Yeah. Now tell me something. Let's say I do apply and get 50,000, and I've got 12 months to pay. Can I manage to pay it back?
If you get 50,000
from an informal sector perspective?
Yes. It depends on whether you are starting or you are growing.
Okay.
Because there are those different types of borrowing requirements. If you are borrowing to start, you can't finish paying in the next 12 months unless your model is like bulletproof.
All right.
But if you are growing, if you are a growing business, you can afford to pay within the next 12 months because already you are making money. You are getting more money because you want to add another product or you want to improve your operations. So then you can continue to sustain the installments for a period to finish it. But for those who are starting, and I believe that most of the people who are going to be accessing this money are startups.
Yeah.
For the reasons that we have spoken about today, to say the people who are going to queue are people who are starting. The people who have started are busy running businesses, right? So those who are starting, they need a moratorium, and most of the time they never get enough a period of moratorium. I know that CEDA will give you 3 months max.
3 months.
You ask for 6 months, they'll push for 3 months. You ask for 12 months, they'll push for 6 months. You are always going to struggle there. And for a starting business, in 3 months, you haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You don't have a market. You don't have an uptake.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Even if I mean, right now we use social media to market most of our businesses. It doesn't take 3 months to get proper following.
Yeah.
It doesn't. If you sponsor and then you get huge followers within the period of the sponsorship, I always tell people, you need to be careful about social media. You can have a lot of following, but those are not your clients. They followed you because you were sponsoring your page. It was just appearing.
Yeah.
But you want generic growth, because then when it happens like that, these are people who come to your page for the content that you produce.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I put up a video. I remember when we were at about 40,000 followers. We would sometimes put up a post and we would get 1,000 reactions. And then if it's a video, sometimes we'll get maybe up to 80,000 views, maybe over some 2-3 months. And then I was telling guys that you do realize, this is huge. They were like, oh, why do you say that? I say, no, look at our followers.
Yeah.
Look at our reactions. The number of reactions that we get are people who follow you and give out 200,000 and more.
Yeah.
But we are getting the same number of reactions, ordinarily at 40,000. It means they are at 200,000, but most of their followers are not people who are really consuming their content.
Yeah, it's people who realize you asked me to follow, so I'll follow.
So you asked me to follow, so I'll follow, right? So in business, it's the same way. Yeah. You have a lot of potential clients, or you have a lot of clients, but are they buying clients? Because you can have a database, right? And if that database are not your target market, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You might as well just scrap it and start afresh. But to have growth, it's natural. Sponsorship and stuff. It takes time. Sometimes it takes years, unless if your content is so powerful that people cannot resist in a month or two. So because marketing what's on the socials, when I'll be shocked if you go to CEDA, but not really shocked, because I know what that's still old school. If you go to them and say you want to do a rigorous marketing campaign, you want to have billboards and cars branded, you want to do promotions,
flyers, everything.
I know they'll mostly fund such, because now they once declined me. No, now my marketing plan is social. And at the time, I wanted them to buy me equipment, and I was doing insurance. I wanted them to buy me cameras and basically media equipment. I wanted media equipment, and I was telling them, oh, look, I'm not going to be doing door to door. I have good content. I will be producing the content, so I need cameras and stuff so that I produce content every day to put out there on socials. Hey man, they were laughed at me. I remember there was this lady, she would look at me like, this guy's crazy. What is he talking about, So I got a decline at the time, and then I just started doing it myself. Just getting one camera, slowly getting a mic, getting this, getting that, and I continue to pursue content, and that's how our business has been getting into boardrooms.
Yeah.
Somebody comes and says, when you are not there, somebody presents to the board and says, but there's this guy. He does this. We should call him.
Yeah.
And then we get a call. We go and do a presentation, but it's not It's not a pitch per se, because they've already vetted the content.
It's done. They're just verifying you.
It's done. They're just verifying me. But back then, the guys at Seatla thought, no, you don't understand what you are saying. You are talking about cameras and content. How are you going to be sure that these people are going to buy? And then I'm like, I'm more sure of the people who have viewed my content than somebody who has a billboard paying 20,000 a month.
And can't verify who saw.
You can't verify who saw.
Yeah. So now, we are looking at trying to grow the economy, right? And you said something earlier that is still ringing in my mind. I started a business in an informal space because I want to be in the informal sector, right? However, Chema Chema's expectation is that you must graduate into a formal sector. Is that going to happen though? Is that a feasible request or a feasible plan to put out to someone to say, our expectation of you is that after you've taken this 50,000 pula, you should be able to graduate from informal to formal sector?
Yes, I was saying for me, I think it's an unfair request.
Okay.
To say, I'm giving you this money, but I want you to graduate to
the formal sector.
To the formal sector. It's a lot similar to what we've been doing with a lot of small businesses. We want them to graduate to medium enterprises. We want medium enterprises to get to corporates. How many corporates can you have in a country? So you have to have all of these businesses running at the same time to push an economy that is sustainable, that runs properly. So I think for informal, what we could be saying is to say, because when you are saying informal sector, you are mostly talking about businesses which are not registered and stuff. It's easy to do those things. You just register. It doesn't even need money. So we can formalize all the businesses, but then we need to define those businesses, saying these are micro businesses, right? We just register them, we formalize them, so that they can pay tax if they have to pay tax, and then we say now these businesses are micro, small businesses, right? Or micro businesses, right? Instead of, because informal, obviously, we'll always have an informal sector.
Yeah.
We'll always have, because once we formalize them, we register them, we formalize them, but they remain micro.
Yeah.
Right.
So the formalization there is not graduate your level of business,
no,
but remain in your space now as a formal micro enterprise.
In the system.
You're right.
Yeah. Now you have to be in the system. That's basically what a formal means, right? Yeah. So once those are in the system, somebody who's just graduating or somebody who just failed at school, they will start something. Most of the time, people don't start by saying, I want to have a business. They'll be like, festival like a weekend. That is an informal business. Even if they can make 500,000 for that gig once off, it's an informal business because you did not register it. You went to the promoter. No, I have these cups. I can supply you with the cups. And then I bought somehow the record. And then we made a festival, right? But once now you get to a level where this thing can be a business, then you register it, then you become formal. But are you operating at small scale, medium scale, or high scale, or are you operating as micro? Those will be the variations. But I think as a country, we confuse small businesses and their mandate and their strategy. To say if you are a small business, you want to become a corporate. Golf GTI, but they could not afford, so they bought a polo. It's not that, right? There are people who genuinely love polo.
Right.
They buy polo not because it was confused for a budget or something like that. No, even if you gave them $1 million, they will buy a polo because they love a polo.
Yeah.
Small businesses, they should be looked at it. They should be looked at. There are people who run small businesses and they make more money with their small businesses than if they were to expand. Now there are so many businesses that I advise don't go corporate.
Yeah.
Because they were making more money as a small business. Because when you go corporate now, the operational expenses start to get skyrocketing. You need a finance director. You need this. Now your salaries
and then a board and
bloated at the top. You need a board, and then you at the end of the year you have made a revenue of 300 million, but your profit is 1 million.
All right.
And then you have a small business that makes 5 million, but the profit is 3.
All right. So now, in closing, if I don't need this, should I go and apply for it? And also, should I think that this 50,000 can upgrade my business beyond being in the microspace?
I don't think anyone should apply if they don't need to.
Yeah.
But I would advise that sometimes you think you don't need something, but you need it. It's only that you don't know. I would advise that a lot of people seek advice from business experts to say, can you look at my business? Do you think there's need for me to grow? Because sometimes when a business is not capacitated for growth, it dies. Yeah, there's nothing like business remaining constant because other things are moving below the ground, right?
Yeah.
Inflation is going up, cost of living, all of those things that are happening, whether you like it or not. So you can't remain where you are, right? So for those that don't know that they need the money, they can seek advice. We can ask them a couple of questions just to say, look, what are your plans? What is this? How long have you been operating? Where do you buy your stuff? Don't you consider maybe that instead of just buying this ice pops from a market and then about somehow the regisa, there's a small machine that you can actually use to create your own ice pops. You can actually brand them. You can do this. When people hear things like this, they get a light bulb moment. And then sometimes now they realize, oh no, I need to go and get 10,000 to buy that thing. So don't just go there because everyone is going there and then you find yourself with money. You don't know what to do to use the money for, or you end up wasting the money and now you have to pay back the money and you don't have enough to pay back the money. You start getting stressed. So I would say, look, don't just go there for the sake of going there. Sit down properly, come up with a plan, establish why you need the money. Sometimes you just rush there and you go and get less than what you need.
Yeah. So now again, should I target the maximum or should I target my need?
You target your need.
Okay.
Yeah, target your need.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ratshosa, for your time and coming through to the Things That Go. Right, so that's how we end Things That Go, today's episode, one of the longest episodes we've had so far, and I think it's been insightful and very educative. Don't forget that Masheling is always there to give you more information. I think you've got a book that's coming out. When we find time, let's review that book. It's the second book that you've done.
Yes.
So I think let's find time to go out there and also try and review it. And again, don't forget to look for Wealth Ignite. Ignite Wealth, actually, on your social medias. And again, don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe.